We're gonna piss off a lot of companies in this video. This is Steam, running straight off of my PS5. I can play PC games, PS3 games, and even Switch games, all on one console. And I can even play multiplayer games, use Firefox, Chrome, and a lot of other things just like a regular PC. The PS5 modding scene has made another massive breakthrough, and it's now possible to run Linux on jailbroken PS5s, opening the doors to do a bunch of crazy stuff. Let me show you everything that's possible, how easy it is to get set up, and why this might be one of the best deals you can actually get right now for gaming. It's now been 2 years since I showed you how to jailbreak a PS5 and how I've let you do a bunch of crazy stuff like custom front ends, mod menus for PS5 games, uncapping frame rates on PS4 games, and a crazy amount of other stuff. But there was something missing from the modding scene that people were patiently waiting for: Linux support. Yeah, so PlayStation consoles actually have a really weird history with Linux. They're no strangers to running a desktop operating system on their hardware. The PS2 had an official disk to run Linux that you could just buy, and the PS3 actually shipped with a feature called Other OS that lets you install stuff like Linux right on your PS3 and just use it like a regular computer, until people started fiddling with it and yanked it from all PS3s. Oh, they got sued for this, by the way, and they lost. Now, modders have gotten really good at configuring this stuff for jailbroken PS4s and PS4 Pros, and it ran okay, pretty decent. It was fine. But now, finally, 5 years after its release, the GOAT himself, The Flow, has finally done it and managed to get Linux running on the PS5, turning it into a proper gaming PC. I know some people are probably hearing that and being like, whoa, The Flow got this running? Yeah, if you're like a modder, tinker type person, you're probably already familiar with his work. He's responsible for things like the OG PS5 jailbreak, several PS4 jailbreaks, the Vita jailbreak, Vita Shell, Adrenaline emulator, and a lot of other awesome PlayStation modding projects. Like, this dude really knows his stuff. And now he's finally made the Linux loader available to the public, and now anyone with a jailbroken PS5 can run Linux. Now, it's just Ubuntu for now, so I can't do crazy stuff like running Bazite or CachyOS on it or anything, but it's still really impressive, and almost everything just works. There's no crazy setups or configuration files that I had to set up at all, and the best part is, it's dual boot. So it's not like one or the other. I can run Linux like normal and play my Steam games there and my emulators and everything over there. And when I want to play PS5 games again, I just restart the PS5 and I'm back to regular PlayStation OS. So we went through a lot of different testing to see what's possible. So let me show you what we found. I think you're going to be really surprised at what this thing can actually run. So how do we do this? Obviously, this is only for jailbroken PS5s right now, which means as of right now, that means a fat PS5 that's running a really low firmware. For Linux, that means you have to be running anything from version 3.0 to 6.0 firmwares. But he's planning on adding support for even newer firmwares in the future. But basically, if you updated the PS5 anytime before 2023, you're out of luck. Also, don't bother trying to wipe the PS5 and installing an old and recovery firmware. That doesn't work. There is no way to downgrade your PS5 firmware right now. By the way, I saw some people claiming that they were able to do that on their PS5, and it actually is not that hard. And I'm like, dude, if you can find a way to take a freshly updated PS5 and flash it back down to a 5-year-old firmware, dude, I will personally PayPal you $100 to show me how to do it. It is not possible. Now, I've been stockpiling this PS5 for a while. I bought this all the way back in April 2021, 5 years ago now, and it's still running its original firmware that it came with, 3.20. So that means we can run Linux on this thing. Now we have to prepare the PS5 for running Linux, which means blocking outside access so it doesn't automatically update and, killer jailbreak. That includes disabling automatic updates in the settings, disabling automatic error reporting, we don't want to report anything to Sony, and setting a custom DNS in our internet settings, which blocks all connections to PlayStation services, but still lets you access other stuff like YouTube and Google. Then there's the Linux specific settings, which means toggling on rest mode, enabling constant power to the USB ports, and enabling HTTP. This is copyright protection that some apps like Netflix use, so you can't screen record their stuff. It's really weird because if you leave it off, you just see a black screen on Linux. But if you leave it on, the screen will work, but now our capture card can't see anything. It's really weird. I've never seen this before. And that's all the stuff we got to do on the PS5 side. Now, let's go configure our Linux drive. So our Linux build is going to live on an external drive. I'm using this 1 terabyte SanDisk SSD that's pretty dang fast, But PS5 with firmware models 4.0 and higher can actually install it to the PS5's SSD slot, which means you don't have to take up an extra USB port taken up by the operating system. But given the price of SSDs right now, I'm okay with using what I have. Dude, yeah, it's getting really bad. I bought a SSD, like a 2 terabyte SSD for $150, and it was like a really, really nice one for my PS5 just a year ago. How much is it now, actually? I haven't even checked. Oh my God. Oh, dude, we're so cooked. Oh my God. Now, the Flow does recommend building your own Ubuntu Linux image, but I'm lazy, so I'm just gonna grab a pre-built one that somebody else already has like uploaded for me. Once we flash the image, let's plug it into the PS5, and now we're ready. Okay, so this next process is actually like the easiest part of this entire thing. I cannot stress how easy it is to actually get this thing jailbroken already. So first thing we have to do is actually push the jailbreak payload over to the PS5. So how do we do that? Well, some people actually push it themselves by connecting it to their network and then like pushing it to like a laptop or like a software or something like that. But there's actually another way you can do it. There's actually ways you can do it straight from the browser itself, and I'm gonna show you how to do that now. Okay, so you know that custom DNS that we set that blocks all the Sony servers and all that stuff? Well, it also has another feature. So this custom DNS also redirects all the PlayStation traffic that you might see, like anything from PlayStation websites, and redirects it to their own payload website. So what that means is we can go to the user guide, and when we click on the user guide, little pop-up is gonna show up, and there you go. See, now it's loading up the payload website. Now here's the fun part, because all of these are hosted online, but they can also be cached locally, so that way in the event you don't wanna connect your PS5 to the internet, it'll still load these, so you're not cut out at all. Like you're not cut off from the payloads themselves. So now we just have to pick what site we really want. I'm just gonna choose this one for now. And now we hit jailbreak. Now, there is a 50-50 chance that this PS5 crashes right now when we hit jailbreak. It always seems to happen. It's literally just by chance. But we'll give it a shot. All right. It's doing all right so far. Oh, yeah, we're good. All right, cool, sweet. We got the upload on there. The payload is pushed. So from here, we can load a bunch of different stuff like ETA hen, FPKG enabler. That one lets you install like any PKG you want without like having to like, you know, pay for it, I guess, or license it or whatever. And a bunch of other stuff like FTP servers and all this other stuff. Really, really nice. It has a bunch of cool stuff, but honestly, all we want is the PS5 Linux loader. So we're gonna press that. We're gonna see some stuff show up on the screen here, and the PS5 is gonna go to sleep. It's kind of neat. It goes to rest mode. Now here's the fun part. When we turn on the PS5 again, it's not gonna be booting into the PlayStation mode. It's gonna be booting into Linux mode. Turn it back on now. And there it is. There's Linux. That's it. The PS5 officially has some games now. Now, unfortunately, we can't control, obviously, this with the PS5 controller because, you know, that doesn't work that way. So we're gonna need a mouse and we're gonna need a keyboard. Come on. And I should probably mention Wi-Fi and Ethernet, like the actual Ethernet jack on the PS5 doesn't work right now. So in order to get connected to the internet, we actually need to have like a little like Wi-Fi dongle adapter thing to plug it in. Yeah, after everything is said and done, you basically used up all your usable USB ports. So if you want anything else anymore after this, you kind of need like a USB hub. And at that point, it starts becoming dongle city over here. But this is Linux running on a P5, you know? I've already been playing a little bit with it, so I've been kind of messing around with it, but we're in, look, this is Linux running on the P5. We can play games now on it and stuff. Now that we're in Ubuntu, what can we do with it? Well, it's a straight up desktop, just like any other operating system. So you can install a web browser, set up Steam, run Linux apps, whatever you want. And it was able to handle heavy use pretty well, actually. We pushed it pretty hard and it didn't seem to stress much at all, honestly. Though there was a few apps that did have some compatibility issues, unfortunately. But I'll get to that in a sec. Oh, by the way, here's a fast fetch info in case you were curious. So naturally, the first thing I wanted to test was running Steam games. And I was really surprised to discover that the PS5's GPU is picked up right away with zero tinkering needed at all. Oh my God, dude, the Steam hardware survey showed up and I was dying. They're gonna be really confused over there. So the first thing I thought is, we gotta try a quick benchmark to see the limits of this thing. I ran the Cyberpunk benchmark and I realized very quickly the PS5 is not a 4K machine. And just to be clear, we're kind of targeting 30 FPS here because we're doing maxed out settings and ray tracing. Like only if you start spending like over $1,000, you finally start seeing like ray tracing at 60 FPS. But yeah, it seems to be struggling this a little bit. All right, not bad. Yeah, it seems like it's struggling a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of expected. Let's see what else we can configure. Let's do like, I guess like, let's do like a high, no ray tracing. Okay, it seems like it's performing somehow worse. That's strange. We're running at like ultra settings, but no ray tracing this time, and it seems like it's really chugging. Okay, apparently Digital Foundry already did all the research for us, and we are way too optimistic here. Apparently the PS5 version runs a mix of like medium and low settings, and it runs at 1800p. Good lord. Okay, all right, yeah, we should probably like work on that a little bit. Yeah, okay. So it seems like we're getting a little bit worse performance, and we're not exactly hitting 50, but we're really close though. We're really, really close. That's nice. Okay. Oh, hey, cool. Hey, there it is. All right. Okay, so it can hit 60 for sure. Now again, I'll give it some slack just because this is running, you know, on a jailbroken PS5 through Linux, through a compatibility layer, through, you know, it was never designed to actually run on this thing ever. Like this average of 60, okay. Average of 60, I guess that's a win. Yeah, it's about neck and neck. I'd say probably a little bit worse. What can you do, you know? And that's pretty much our first lesson here. The PS5 doesn't perform very well at 4K. But a lot of games really liked 1800p though. That seems to be the sweet spot for the PS5, so most of the games that we recorded are going to be running at that resolution. Now obviously the exceptions to this rule are older games. GTA 4 runs amazing at 4K on this thing. This is sadly one of the only ways you'll be able to actually drive around in Liberty City on the PS5.
Oh shit!
I always wanted to see what a modern, like, updated graphics version interpretation of Liberty City would look like, but it looks like I'm gonna be like 40 by the time that actually happens. And obviously, I had to try out some of the new PC native ports that have come out recently. Yeah, a lot of you guys asked to see the Sonic Unleashed port running on here, and yes, with everything maxed out and at 4K, this thing is just straight up eye candy, dude. I cannot believe how well this game is aged. Star Fox 64 also recently got a fan-made native PC port just a few months ago, and with proper HD textures, 4K, and proper widescreen support, this game looks really nice on the P5. I won't pretend to be like the biggest Star Fox fan, but I know that a lot of people care about these games, so I wanted to give it a shot. Now, of course, the main benefit of running Steam now means that you can play PC exclusives now too, like Deadlock, which apparently not many people knew that Valve came out with a new game this decade. It's really pretty, and the character design is phenomenal, and it runs very nicely on the P5. Now, PC exclusive games are nice, but access to Steam also means access to the Steam Workshop, which means with games like Black Ops 3, alongside all of our normal zombies maps, yep, we can also download modded custom zombies maps on the PS5. Dude, I have so many hours on this game, and the big reason is because there are so many custom zombies maps. This is one of the things I wish they brought over to consoles, honestly. I mean, like, Skyrim did it like 10 years ago and they got like an award for something. So there's no reason we shouldn't be able to shoot zombies in Dunder Mifflin if we want to. Yeah, but you didn't expect to see this here. This is possible. Yeah, PC players be doing all kinds of crazy, weird stuff. Who asked for this? Oh, that's stupid. And you know what? Let's go crazy. There are no more rules. Halo Master Chief Collection on the PS5. This one actually can run at 4K pretty nicely, and all the campaigns are playable here too. And we even got multiplayer running on it. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the anti-cheat system on this game, but it just let me play without having to touch or configure anything. Man, if I had a nickel for every time I played Halo on a PlayStation console, I'd have 2 nickels, which, you know, isn't a lot, but, you know.
Oh my god, it is ruthless.
Now, I want to be clear, it wasn't all smooth sailing with Steam. Some games just didn't launch for whatever reason, or it would give like a crash even after fiddling with the Proton layers. But with Steam on here, you pretty much double your playable games collection on your PS5, which is nuts. From older games to console exclusive games, and my favorite part, emulated games. I hate having to do anything involving contacting doctors. You gotta figure out who to call, figure out if they take your insurance, wait on hold forever trying to see if maybe they might have a place to see you in 3 weeks. And after all of that, there's still no way to tell if you're even gonna like your doctor. It's a mess. Well, there's a way better way now with our sponsor, ZocDoc. It's literally made for people like me who just hate having to call people. You can search for over 150,000 different providers to find whatever health professional you might need. You can filter by location, insurance, and you can even check verified reviews from other patients so you know what your doctor is like before you meet them. And when you're ready, you can book an appointment right then and there and usually see them within 72 hours of booking the appointment. Plus, they have all types of different providers too, ranging from eye doctors, dermatologists, dentists, and a lot more. All of this without having to make 20 different phone calls. It's never been easier to take care of your health, dude. Scan the QR code right here or click the link in the description to give it a try today. It's completely free. And big thank you to ZocDoc for supporting the channel, especially on subjects like this. One of the things I wanted to do with this PS5 was turn this thing into an everything PlayStation console. So it can run games from PS5, PS4, PS3, PS2, and PS1. Now for PS4, there is a PS4 emulator out there, but the PS5 can already do PS4 pretty well. The only reason someone would use shad PS4 right now is to play Bloodborne. But since this is a jailbroken PS5, we can also mod a lot of these games to run at 60 frames. And in some cases like Bloodborne, even have them running at 120 FPS. Man, poor Bloodborne, man. This is like Sony's stepchild that he doesn't really love that much, but refuses to have his mom get partial custody for. So PS5 and PS4 are plenty taken care of on a modded PS5 already. So what's left? Well, of course, you can license some PS3 and PS2 games using PS Plus or Premium or whatever they decide to call it this week. But there's so many missing games here, and the subscription model never really sat right with me. You never really own these games, and you have to rebuy them even if you already own the discs. Now, I remember always hearing that the reason PS5 never got backwards compatibility was because it would be too messy, it's too complex, it's not natively compatible with the PS5's architecture, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. Using a program called EmuDeck, we can configure a bunch of emulators at once and set them up in your Steam library too, so that they can just appear like normal Steam shortcuts. And there's lots of one-click emulators you can grab, like RPCS3, which is a PS3 emulator made by the community so games are just plug and play, and actually test out how well these PS3 games run on the PS5. And their compatibility list is huge. 98% of the PS3 library is at least either playable or in-game. And so many games run on this PS5. It is not a slouch by any means. It is more than capable.
Oh my god.
Plenty of games run at native 4K with zero issues. And the best part is, RPCS3 has game patches that let you uncap the frame rate on a lot of games.
What kind of armor is that?
So all the games that you remember playing as a kid that were stuck on 30 FPS can now be played at 60. And something that I don't see many people ever talk about, RPCS3 also has their own online network called RPCN that lets you play a bunch of games online. I never got a chance to play Mod Nation Racers online when I was a kid. I never thought my first time experiencing it would be on a PS5 of all places.
I got tired of waiting, so I put up a little message on my Discord telling people like to help me out, because like there was like nobody on board. There's like 18,000 of you guys in there. There's gotta be at least 8 people in here that know how to run RPCS3. Good lord, finally. I've been waiting forever to play this game, bro. I never got a chance to play this game when I was a kid. I mean, online at least. Wow, okay, I'm not as good as I remember, Jesus. Well, fairness, I never got a chance to play with online people ever. So, like, you know, that's not fair. No way. Oh my god. Yes. Now, give me. Now, thank you. Hell yeah, they got Freddy. They got the or guy. They got the or guy. That's cool. They got Steve. Mod circumcision. I gotta try that one out. Oh, we got like Sackboy, and I got Miku. I feel like I should know who this is. Ooh, okay, all right, a little bounce. What's all that white stuff on the floor? Dude, this is so fun. I love this. Even though I'm dead last for some reason, I ended up playing this for way longer than I should have. I should have gone home like 2 hours ago. But yes, Mod Nation running on P5. I'm so proud of it. It looks so good, dude. I don't think I ever expected to ever live on the PlayStation 5. That's so cool.
And of course, Little Big Planet. Dude, I love these games so much growing up. Well, the community has been running fan servers for a couple years now with a lot of custom maps saved from the old days. This service called Beacon, it is so crazy being able to walk around seeing these user levels again. You could probably even find your old map if you ever uploaded it publicly. I'll leave a link to find it in the description. This is one of the most popular games to run on RPCS3, and it's running at 4K, online, with friends, on a PS5. All of this being held up solely by the community. But it's not the only community staying alive all these years. There's been tons of people begging for Sony to bring back PlayStation Home or some sort of equivalent or anything at this point. I don't know, just let furries in there somehow and the community will grow on its own. That seems to always work for some reason. So while Sony never brought it back, the community got together and created fan-made servers that anyone can join so they can still experience what it was like to visit all these worlds back in the day. And sure enough, I mean, the PS5 isn't even breaking a sweat here. It's running at 4K, native, no problem, and running at 60 FPS. So many games are stuck on the PS3 with no way to play them without rebuying them again, and being able to just throw these games onto a PS5 and have them run better than they ever did back in the day is genuinely so surreal. Yeah, so for anyone saying the PS5 couldn't handle PS3 emulation or it's not possible, whatever, like, we can let that claim die now. They're just lying. They're just straight up lying. There's genuinely zero excuse for PS5 not to have it other than just plain greed. All right, I'm gonna show you how to piss off 3 companies in one go. Switch games, on a PS5, running through Steam. Now, sadly, because I don't want Nintendo to find out where I live, I'm gonna censor this, but trust me, it is running back there, okay? I promise. I'll post the uncensored version of this video on the Patreon if you're curious. Good lord, imagine showing this to somebody 5 years ago. They'd call you a liar. So we tested a few games on here using the Eden emulator. Now, of course, I want to do this as legit as possible, so that way there's no way that Nintendo is gonna be like, oh look, you see, he's encouraging piracy. So, I'm gonna rip my Switch games the legit way. This is the Mix Switch, and it is straight up a Switch cart to USB reader. Yeah, these are way harder to find now that the company got sued or something. I'm not really sure about that. But this or a jailbroken Switch are the only physical, legal ways to physically dump your Switch carts. So I just insert my Switch game into the reader, and boom, that's it. The XCI file shows up right on the PS5. It could not be any easier. I have a whole video on this little adapter, by the way, if you're interested. Definitely go check that out once you're done here. Dude, running Switch games via Steam Big Picture on my PS5. So we tested a few games to see how well it ran. The one where you race, the one where you're a hat, and the one where you cry. For the one with the hat, I will say the frame rate was a little bit more jumpy with this one, but I was still able to run at 4K, 50-ish frames per second, no problem. Though, yeah, expect some dips for sure. For the driving one, the game already runs at 60 FPS natively, but we could push the resolution to native 4K and it ran beautifully. It is such a nice experience on the PS5. God, I can't believe I'm even saying that right now. Now for the one where you cry, this one was really weird. We could not get this to run at a steady frame rate at all. It was really inconsistent. I've already seen people running this game on PS5 on Twitter, but the thing is, all of those video clips are usually just in the intro area or the sky where there's like 3 total things that are actually rendered. So we went out of our way to actually test this in the overworld, and yeah, as soon as you land down there, it's just Stutter City all the way through. We even tried to use an app called NX Optimizer tool to try to get some better performance out of it, but man, even at 720p resolution, we were still hitting like 15, 20 FPS with really bad stutters in between. I'm telling you, we tried everything for like 2 days straight, and we just couldn't figure it out. I don't know. But at least we were able to say, yes, I ran Switch games on my PS5. Literally, none of these things were ever supposed to come in contact with each other. Now, I should mention, it wasn't all smooth sailing for Linux though. A few things that we noticed, the screensaver just doesn't work at all right now. And if you let the screen go to sleep for any reason, it'll just turn black and it just will not come back ever. The screen will just turn off and then just never come back. And some monitors just straight up don't work for displaying on this thing right now. So we got really lucky there. And a lot of the apps that we wanted to try just didn't work because it couldn't recognize the hardware at all that we were running. For example, I wanted to try video editing on the PS5, only to find out that DaVinci couldn't start the app because no GPU was detected. And benchmarks like 3D Mark, I mean, they weren't designed for Linux in the first place, but it couldn't recognize our system specs, so it didn't allow us to run the test. So I don't have scores for you there, unfortunately. But I have seen other people already being able to run 3D Mark. I wonder what they did differently. But this is all still really promising. I don't want to undersell that. The fact that this works so well, just right out of the box without any sort of tinkering, is genuinely incredible. And because the Flow already released this out into the public, that means the community now has their hands on it and are working on making the experience even better. Since I started working on this video, people have already figured out how to get other Linux images running on here, like Debian and CachyOS, and are already working on support for things like Alpine, Mint, and Fedora, which means, in theory, dual booting Bazite on the PS5 might be a possibility in the future. That's gonna be so cool, dude. Oh my god, dual booting SteamOS on the PS5. It's so cool. This is seriously just the beginning of where PS5 Linux is headed, and I think it's an amazing addition to modded PS5s. It's been about 2 years since I last covered the scene and everything possible with a jailbroken PS5. Maybe it's time to revisit it and see what else is possible. especially since a lot more PS5s can finally be modded now. I think like the newest update you can do is like version update like 12.0 or something. Anyways, click over here to check out another video on this topic, and thank you for watching.